All right. Well, that was something, wasn't it? That was something, wasn't it? Rangers lose 3-2 to the Washington Capitals in game 41 of the regular season. We're halfway through the season and we're sitting at a just a bit of a low right now. Just a bit, right? I'm just beyond beyond disgusted and aggravated the with the efforts in these games. It's just beyond infuriating. Um, and I don't even know really what more I could say because it's the same things over and over and over again. And people keep saying, just wait, they'll fix it. Just wait, they'll fix it. Where's the fix? Where's the fix? Where is it? I'm trying to understand where the fix is. They've been a 500 team since the start of December. Now below 500. I'm pretty sure they're below 500 now since the start of December. They were a 500 team though pretty much in December. And now their only win of 2024 comes against the Chicago Blackhawks. The Chicago Blackhawks. That's just amazing. That's just amazing. You know what? Bravo. Bravo. You got to give it up to them because they're better than the Blackhawks. You know what? Give it up to them. Give it up to them. I'm trying to understand why there has not been any question or just anyone questioning the front office a bit. And hear me out on this one. Because I'm trying to understand why there has not been just any questions from a philosophical standpoint with this front office. Let's not act like every organization bats 1,000 here. I get that. Not every GM is going to bat 1,000. But why are we... I think you're letting Drury off with a pass here if you don't give him a lick of blame. Jeff Gordon gave a core to Chris Drury. He just had to surround the pieces. Granted, some of the core guys are just aggravating me, but the pieces that he's put around has been just a revolving door of players. And then the call-ups too, right? You have Alex Belzile, who has been pretty good in Hartford. He's been pretty good in Hartford. And the first call-up from, or at least recently, the call-up for Mika Zibanejad because he was sick was Jake Lecision, who sat in the press box, by the way. And the call-up after that was Anton Bleed. The depth going into this year was that. And that's on top of them riding and counting on a Nick Bonino who has significant mileage on him. On top of that, that goes with Blake Wheeler, who has significant mileage on him. Tyler Pitlick, who's been a journeyman fourth line winger. And you're lucky. Drury's lucky that Will Coley had a unreal preseason, that the kid's been unreal. I could give him a pat on the back for that, though. That'll give Drury credit for, is that he got Will Coley on this roster and let him get the chance. He's been arguably the best forward over the last few weeks, which is a little concerning, but regardless, I'm not saying they have to go out and fire Drury this second, but there should at least be, I think it's fair to at least give some criticism, and I think that you're letting management off with a pass here by not questioning them at the very least. You don't have to say, you could say you want him fired. You could say that it's overreactionary to say they should be fired. I'm in the middle. I'm not saying they need to go out and fire the guy right the second. I'm not saying that he's the worst GM to walk the planet because, again, not every GM is going to bat 1,000. I get it. But there is definitely somewhere where you could get a fine line and meet in the middle to question the front office. It's the truth. It's the truth. Because I don't understand how I don't understand the philosophy. I don't understand the philosophy. 2 injuries, and this is the crap we get on the ice. This is the crap. And it goes way deeper. Don't get me wrong, it goes way deeper than just that. Because let's not act like there's not questions with parts of the core too right now. Let's not pretend that there isn't. But I don't understand how they played just such dominant hockey on the defensive side of the puck in October and parts of November. And we're sitting here now talking about them being worse than teams like the San Jose Sharks, the Chicago Blackhawks, the Anaheim Ducks, and just all of those teams in terms of rush defense. Do you know how bad you have to be in that caliber? They are the 32nd ranked team in rush defense. And it's just amazing. It's just amazing because I smelt something funny. And I don't want to give myself a pat on the back because I wanted to be wrong as hell. And I wanted to look stupid. And I wanted to look at myself as someone that is overreacting. For all I know, I'm going to look back at this stream like I'm overreacting. But I'm trying to understand, where's the change? Where's the change? The rush defense is abysmal. All three of Washington's goals off the rush. All three. And where were the Rangers' goals? Broken plays. Not even like you could hang your hat on the offense generating a lot of chances in this one either. They came out flying in the second, too. That's what's annoying. The Rangers came out flying in the second period. And then how did they follow it up? I mean, you know, they had the lead after 2. Like, their second period was okay. It was okay. The first period, though, like I said, you got the Fox goal off of a broken play. Then you have right after the power play, because that's the thing the Rangers do this year. After the power play, Keandre Miller. He did it all day. Shot the puck right into the shin of just the Washington Capitals and leads to McMichael getting the puck, feeds Mantha. He gets behind Jacob Trouba, gets a breakaway, and scores a backhander. And like I said, they came out flying in the second period. The second period is the period where you could, if you want to hang your hat on anything, they played a respectable second period offensively. Not defensively, but offensively. They played a respectable period. They made it 2-1. Granted, it was due to a terrible breakout attempt by Connor McMichael, but Fox fires it on goal through traffic and scores. Yay, Fox playing good offense. But then you get later on into the game. Game gets tied at 2 in the third. It feels like the Rangers just thought they won the game after 2. That's the other thing, right? Yeah. Oh, by the way, you Kreider negate the Rangers' power play. Washington takes an offensive zone penalty, and instead of shoving it down their throat, Kreider just decides, yeah, you know what? Let me take a whack. Let me take a whack at John Carlson. And then right after, they go back to even strength. Again, Miller, garbage read as Washington was entering the zone. Fox chases Kuznetsov behind the net. None of the forwards back checking the help. Kuznetsov feeds it to Dowd in front, who just taps it in. And then what's another thing the Rangers do? They let up goals at will, like consecutive goals at will. Yet again, 3-2. Fox, bad step up with his stick check. You got to use the body there. And then instead of back checking, he picks his head up, throws his arms up instead of back checking. And then, yep, all of a sudden, here comes Dylan Strome. Jacob Trouba, somehow TJ Oshie's behind him, feeds it across Dylan Strome, that is, to TJ Oshie, taps it in 3-2. Poor Jonathan Quick. And you know what? His rebound control was questionable at times, but they hung him out to dry. To dry. With the poor rush defense again. I'm just sick and tired of feeling like a broken record on these. I'm a broken record with these post games. It's just unreal. It's just unreal. I'm curious to see. Yeah, like this too, and then yeah, all their 5v5 offense. You'll never guess which line it came from. By the way, they're good 5v5 looks. You'll never guess. If you said the second line, you would be correct. Wonder how you figured that one. Really wonder how you figured that one. This is just infuriating. I don't know. I don't know what else I could say or like add to the conversation anymore. Sorry, guys. I need to quickly do something right now because I'm gonna have a very special guest join, and you guys will love who I'm having on because if you think I'm livid, I mean there's a man that will come on and be just as livid, if not more livid than I am, and it's gonna be fun. I promise you guys, it's gonna be fun. But I don't know when he's gonna join, but he'll be on at some point. I'm just a broken record, though. I truly am just a broken record, rooting for broken teams. I mean, the Philadelphia Eagles are gonna just make me even more annoyed uh come Monday. But you know, the coffee doesn't taste right. Having coffee just doesn't taste the same. Molly Walker tweeted when asked the level of concern right now. Laviolette said, Laviolette answer was short. We've got to win a game tomorrow. He said that's the objective tomorrow is go back and win a hockey game. All right. All right. Well, I mean, we've been saying that now for the past few games, so do it. But I'm still not. I don't know whether to throw blame at all at Laviolette or not. Like, because I would like to see him also be a little bit more harsh on these players and bench guys. Like, I get Fox scored 2 goals, but his defensive effort was putrid today. Like, he was not good defensively today. I mean, Miller and Trouba were not any better either, but I'm just saying that it's just like, I don't understand. I don't know whether to throw blame at Laviolette because it's hard for me too when we're 3 coaches in with this core within the past 5 years, and they just it looks like they've regressed even more defensively. That's what's even more concerning, and they're just not getting the Dominic Hasek level play of Igor Shesterkin this go around. Yes, everyone, please leave a like, share, and subscribe if you haven't. Turn on notifications too if you haven't. I don't expect a lot of people to be thrilled with this post game, but I don't want to be this way. I don't want to be livid. This is the hand we're dealt at this point. This is the hand we're dealt because I'm just speechless. I don't know where they go from here. I don't know where to go from here. Oh yeah, I don't know. And I'm just seeing people on the timeline right now. Stop overreacting. Stop this. Stop that. I think we're beyond overreaction at this point. I think we're beyond this being an overreaction. And don't blame me for being pissed off when this is it. Like, this is just it right now. Let's say. Is the chat just not going to work? Is it just this type of stream right now where I can't even go through the comments? There we go. Just had to fix that. It's like I just see all the comments in the chat. I don't even know how to address them. I don't. Because it's like I'm saying the same shit. I'm really just saying the same thing. Every post game at this point. Every freaking post game, I'm saying the same thing. Yeah, the Blake Wheeler experiment needs to end. Oh yeah, I'm gonna be at the game tomorrow. I'm that's gonna be something else. Team is too busy complaining about calls and non-calls instead of playing defense. Yeah. Yep. Telling you right now. I'm telling you right now. And this is like to an extreme level. But I'm telling you right now. I tweeted yesterday the schedule coming up in March and how this could be the make or break month. I'm telling you right now, if they bend in March, you're gonna see me. Oh, I just thinking about it is making me like curl my toes and get like you could see steam coming out of me. Just the thought of it, just the thought of what could come. But they better freaking fix us. They are lucky it's still January. Because if this was March, if this was a loss in March, I'd be blowing. I'd be going berserk right now if this was a March loss. See what the standings look like after that. I don't think they updated it. It still says the Rangers have 40 games played. Or did I mistitle the video twice here? Because I accidentally mistitled it earlier with 3 losses in a row. We're at 4 now, so yeah. I'm curious, people in chat, what is the level of concern right now on a scale of 1 to 10? And tell me, and if you are not as worried right now, tell me why. Tell me what's comforting you right now. Tell me what's comforting you. I need to know. Seven and a half. I would probably sit there with you at 7.5. Nicole, I'd probably sit there at a 7.5 because I tweeted yesterday. I'm not hitting the full on panic button yet. But I'm I'd be lying if I said that maybe my tweet was inaccurate about me holding on to March to hit the panic button, because continues, if this continues, then I'm hitting the panic button way earlier than March. So I'd probably agree. I'm at a 7.5, 9, 8, 7, 7, 7.5. I think is fair right now. 9. I'm not worried because this team just doesn't have it. Fair enough. Fair enough, Alexander. You're just counting them out. Not a 10 only because they are still in first. Fair enough. I'm not higher than a 7. Maybe like a 6. Yeah, this is bad, but we can fix the ship. I like, the thing is with saying they could fix the ship is, when are we going to start seeing the fixes? You know what I mean? Like, we've been saying for the past month now they could fix the ship. When are we going to see this? And I get that they have injuries. I get they have AHL guys in their lineup, but last I checked, Keandre Miller's playing on a nightly basis, and so is Jacob Trouba. So is Adam Fox. Brain Schneider didn't have an awful game, but he's playing every game, and he's inconsistent. Eric Gustafson, he had a pretty okay game too. He's been inconsistent though. Meek and Kreider at 5v5. That's been the story. It's just like, I'm trying to figure out, when are we going to start seeing them fix the ship? I'm not saying they can't do it. It's just, when are we going to see it? When are we going to see it? Only comfort comes from knowing they had it figured out and are capable of playing a better style. That's fair. Like, that's how I feel. It's just like, when are we going to see it? Seven, my concern is that they're not going to the dirty areas. They're playing for highlight goals. You're going to get tossed in the playoffs with that kind of play. Yeah. Yep. 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 Yeah. Someone has to be making calls. Can't go through another rebuild / retool. They have to go all in sooner rather than later. I agree, Cameron. Like, that's why I said yesterday, or I'm already like mixing up my days. Last post game. That's why I threw the trade idea out there about getting Chychrun and Joseph for Kakko and either Miller or Lindgren, and then a draft pick, because again, it's a deal fans will hate, but in reality, you're getting more proven guys. You're getting more proven guys. Especially Joseph, who, yes, may have not had the biggest impact in terms of the Tampa Bay Lightning winning the cup, but, you know, like, what's the difference between him and Gaudreau then at that point, right? At least Joseph, though, is like proven he's like a solid player. I'm not saying that, oh, go out and give him so much money for winning cups like they did with Gaudreau, but he's already under contract, and it's not a bad deal for how he is as a player. Teams aren't dumb. They know if they stay out of the box, they can beat them. Then again, they had 3 chances on the power play today and nothing. Yeah. Did we imagine our dream that this team played any kind of system? Yeah. It's like October feels like it was a dream at this point. 10, not enough. 10, not enough grit. Bad defense, not enough 5v5 scoring, only one line producing, not enough cap space to fix everything. teams inching at our heels. If we don't fix, we'll be back to the same team last year. I agree. I'm not at a 10 yet, personally. Um, as aggravated as I am, and how I'm holding some of it in just a bit. Um, I'm not at a 10 yet, but yeah, not enough 5v5 scoring, one line producing. That's at least fixable via the deadline. I do think they have the cap space to make moves at the deadline. Um, it really depends on Heedle. Like if Heedle comes back, then obviously then there's nothing they could really do at the deadline. But yeah, they definitely need to add grit this year. They need to add a Barbashev type like they should have done last year. And I'll be the first to admit I was wrong about that. How I preferred both Tarasenko and Kane. In retrospect, they needed a Barbashev, and I definitely could admit I was in the wrong on that one. And I know people in the chat here were trying to tell me that last year. My apologies to you guys. My apologies to you guys. I was very, very wrong about that. Gaudreau 0 goals in 24 games. Nice. What do you think our biggest issue is besides 5v5? Rush defense. They allow way too many chances off of the rush. And a lot of that is because they turn the puck over like it's candy on Halloween. Whether it's in the neutral zone or attempting to break the puck out, or it's just like Keandre Miller did today, where he's just shooting it right into the shin of players. So those are the biggest issues. There's a few, but like the biggest one outside of 5v5 offense is the rush defense. Yeah, that had me laughing so much that they're showing Trouba giving lessons of breaking the puck out. Like, give me a break. Michael, thank you so much for the $10 dono/super chat. I do appreciate it. Anyone that ever does super chat, you don't have to, but I really do appreciate it a ton. Same thing with all the members here. But Michael says the defense has been bad. Trouba and Miller are the turnover machines every damn night. But the most concerning thing to me is only one line of scoring since December 5th. Our record is 8-10. Yeah, I'm right there with you, man. I'm right there with you. Miller and Trouba have been tire fires, and Trouba needs to be a third pair D-man. He can't be because Schneider's not good enough to play the second pair. Miller's inconsistent, and I think my assessment's been fair that I said he's the RJ Barrett of the Rangers. Think that's pretty fair given what we've seen from him. And yeah, the 5v5 offense runs through one line. It runs through one line. And don't get me wrong, you had good forechecking shifts from the other lines at points, but like you're not getting chances off of them. So like bravo to forechecking, but you got to generate off of it. And yeah, the record since then is just disgusting. Yeah, the Wheeler experiment needs to end. Zlaf playing good, didn't watch the game as it was at 5:30 a.m. my time. He was okay today. Like it's not like that line was as dominant. Granted, they were the only ones generating chances, but it's not like they're as dominant. Lafreniere had a very good chance at the end of the game with the goalie pulled, but like he's had all year, he got robbed. But I'm not gonna complain. Lafreniere could get a pass for having a down game for me. Why? Because he's been one of the more consistent players on the team this year. And I don't expect guys to play consistently night in and night out. It's just unrealistic to ask for guys to play like that. Otherwise, this team would be 82-0. I get it. So Lafreniere, I'm not going to rip him for having a down game. But I am going to certainly rip guys who continue and continue and continue and continue and continue to have bad games. Yeah, Bonino, Gaudreau, and Wheeler all need to be gone. Yeah. Yeah. Couldn't agree more. Couldn't agree more. Let's see. I also saw this comment earlier from Alexander. This rant will be epic. I'm sorry if it wasn't as good as you thought it would be leading into it, but this team shouldn't even make trades to try and fix the issues. If they aren't good enough, they aren't good enough. Wow. Wow. That's a bold statement and a bold claim. That's a bold statement and a bold claim. I'm not there personally. I'm not there yet personally. But I will say, I'm not going to stop you, man, from having that take. If that's how you feel, that's how you feel. That's just how I am. As long as you're not obnoxious in terms of if I disagree with your opinion or vice versa. But regardless, you know how I am, Alexander. You're a longtime viewer. But regardless, I'm not there personally, but I'm not going to blame you if you are. I'm not going to sit here, be as angry as you want. I'm not going to stop anyone from being really angry with this. And yeah, I agree with the Heedle thing. I wouldn't bring him back until the playoffs either. Yeah, it is pretty ironic that Miller's been kind of he just hasn't been good since that article came out about how he was saying this is the most they're prepared. I mean, the team in general has kind of been in shambles since. Mika's lazy as shit. Yeah, Mika's been pissing me off this year. How do I feel about Fox's play? If you mean in this game, I'm in terms of overall, I'm still not worried entirely about Fox, but I will say that his defensive efforts, whether he's hurt or not, need to improve. Need to improve because some of the mistakes he's making are mental mistakes, and it has nothing to do with the fact that he was injured. Some of them are mental mistakes, and that's just the truth. But I'm not going to say he sucks, and I'm not going to say he's never going to get back to the level he's been at before. But I haven't been a fan of his play lately, that's for sure. Yeah, Carolina's probably going to pass at pass in the division at this rate. Yeah. Blow up the team, sign Laugh long term, and retool around him if they f up the season. I don't even know what to say. Like, it's the fact that we have to talk about this when I was so hyped up going into the year too. And it's annoying too because like after game 7, I started to get the feelings of maybe something's off with the core. And I know people were saying it for longer, but game 7 is when I had feelings before that, but game 7 after New Jersey was when I really, really felt I didn't like Gallant's coaching and he deserved to get fired. But there was this part of me too that was saying, what if this is a core issue too? What if this is both? And then I tried to talk myself out of it and be like, all right, look at what Laviolette's done. Look at his resume. And then we see the first month of the season, and I was beyond ecstatic. And now we're sitting here talking about retools potentially. What a freaking time. What a time. Man. My takes have been freaking brutal. My takes have been brutal. I'll admit that. Because to an extent, like, I mean, I was right to question them in December, it looks like. Unfortunately, I was right about that one. But I said Mika was going to have a career year. That's not happening. I said Kaka would be better between him and Lafreniere. The opposite happened there. I said Quick was cooked. Opposite happened there so far. Yeah. But I will say that as of right now, I've been I think I was right for questioning the play in December, and I am pissed off that I'm right too. You think they outperformed their how they are early on? I mean, given that we have a larger sample size of this versus what we saw at the beginning of the season, I can't argue with you, man. I can't argue with you. And people are saying that this is the outlier. This is adversity. This is the outlier. What if it's not? What if it's what this comment says from Nicole? What if that was the outlier? What if the start was the outlier? You know? Yeah, they're not winning board battles much. I've been positive dumb during the skid, but today's game kind of broke me. RVA, don't feel like you're dumb for that. Like, listen, we all have our takes, and for all we know, they could turn it around. For all we know, they could. Am I feeling confident about it? No. Could they? Sure. But it happens. This is sports. This is sports. Things could change very quickly. And you're not dumb for being positive. There's plenty of people that are still being positive right now and optimistic. You're not dumb for it, but it's just upsetting that this is where we are. It's just upsetting. You said fate that when we went down a goal or two that we could come back, but now I'm worried when we're ahead. I mean, that was pretty much the 2021-22 season in a nutshell, right? Like that team, that's where the whole no quit New York thing really took off and they ran with it. Like, um, it started more in 2020, but like that's when it really took off because of the fact that they were good playing from behind, and you know when they had the lead, they were ooh, ooh. Outskilled, out muscled, out grease. Just bad. I'm hopeful, Tom, that we could fix this before the offs. I'm right there with you. I hope they could fix it. I'm not here actively rooting for them to suck like people make it out to be with me. Just because I'm worried doesn't mean I want them to suck. It means that I care and I freaking want them to be better. It means I care and I want them to be better. I wouldn't be tuning in, watching every single game if I was actively rooting for them to suck. That would be stupid. That'd be stupid. I hope they could fix it, but I just have my worries and my doubts. We need more players with heart rather than skill. I could agree with that too. Early on, I really was feeling they weren't out of a single game, and it had nothing to do with Jesse Quick saving them. It was compete level and the system they played. 1,000%, 1,000%. Only saving grace is that Carolina's goalies will be out, so they have Ronta right now, and nobody in the Metros lighting it up. Yeah, fair. I don't know if they're gonna give Corey Perry a shot, but it's an option. It's an option. Yeah, I don't understand how they keep. I mean, I understand how they keep giving up goals. Their defense has just gotten worse, but they did play good and they can come back to that. As a fan, I of course hope for that, but I also feel we need to shake up the roster this offseason. Too much buddy buddy, I feel like. It's a fair assessment. And that's I'm pretty much like at the same I feel the same pretty much as a lot of you guys. And yeah, Carolina is kind of lighting it up. Maybe it's the flu. I don't know if it's the flu. This has been an issue for a month. I'm sorry. I can't excuse them because of the flu when this has been an issue for almost 2 months now. This genuinely might just be who they are, and we just have to accept it. I think they're better than what they're showing us right now, but how much better is the question? How much better is the question we got to ask ourselves? Mika's on a Stanley Cup caliber 1C, and that's a fact. Kreider's too dependent on his line mates. So many things need to go right in order for Mika and Kreider to succeed. Those two need to be broken up. Those two need to be broken up from being line mates. That needs to end. And I talked about it with Steven. I've talked about it ad nauseum. I talked about it with him at one point. Talked about it on Rangers Ice Brew this past episode they did. Go check it out if you haven't already. Still pretty relevant considering the performance as of lately with the team. But we have talked about at nauseum the revolving door of right wingers that those two have had. What point is it then? How many girls are you going to go through until you acknowledge you're the problem? Same situation there. It's been an issue since they even won against the Sharks, etc., where they gave up like 4 or 5 goals and squeaked out a win. Yeah, that's my point. Like I can't. I'm not excusing them with the whole flu thing. I'm not. This is just who they've been for the past 2 months. Unfortunately, this is who they've been. We got though our guest now joining. You guys have been waiting for this to be a thing, for this to happen, but we got Phil from Big Apple Hockey joining, who I'm sure is not probably more angry than I am and how I started. But if you have not checked out Big Apple Hockey, if you're not familiar with them, go check them out. They do great work. They do weekly episodes, interactive streams, and Phil as well does the final buzzer sometimes. And we'll get a version of it right now. I'm giving you the floor right now to get pissed off.
I wish I could get pissed off. I'm past the point of anger. What is what is there to get angry over anymore?
True.
It almost feels like this is who they are. This is what they are, and it is what it is at this point. I don't even know anymore. I have to just start and say that the most disappointing part of all this is the fact that the efforts are just lazy from guys who are wearing letters. And to me, that's a huge problem. Huge problem. We brought Laviolette in for the purpose of giving this team a kick in the ass and holding these players accountable. Now it's time to start doing that. It's time. Somebody's got to get benched. Whether it's multiple people, I hope he pulls a Keenan. I really hope he pulls a Keenan and just starts benching guys who are not giving them what they need. Kreider, Zibanejad, Fox, Trouba, all these guys, that are in leadership positions that have letters that aren't skating. They're not skating, and that's a big problem. You've talked about it 5-on-5. We're not getting anything out of Kreider and Zibanejad. I love the term power play merchants that you always refer to them as, because that's basically what they are right now. It's power play merchants. They're getting their points off the power play. I think I wanna highlight this. I can't highlight.
Is it the one from Mike? This one?
No. The one below him from Vitali 21.
Oh, from Nicole. Yeah.
Yeah. She is saying that Trocheck should have an A. Yeah. I mean, the way that he plays, I would rather give him the A over Mika Zibanejad at this point. Mika Zibanejad, I don't know what's wrong with him, but he just looks like he's just going through the motions out there. Chris Kreider, we know, has gone through the motions since I don't even know when I can even talk about it. Yeah, I agree with Christopher Big Bear. Strike the like for the man here. He's doing us a service going on here. I'm certainly not doing it right now. I mean, I'm on his stream. Normally, it should be me that should be on here yelling and screaming and all this other crap, but I can't even do that. And Mike NYR for life is right. Mika's been dog shit. It's been dog shit. And the efforts from the key guys have been there. I mean, the one line that's giving you any offense at 5-on-5 is Panarin's line with Trocheck and Lafreniere. And even Lafreniere's defensive efforts have just been like, what are you doing, man? What are you doing? I mean, it's almost like I want to go back to what Gallant was saying about him defensively and being like, hey, you know what? Maybe Gallant had a point about him. The one time that I think I may have agreed with Gerard Gallant, because even in the Montreal game, and then the Carolina game, there were goals that were scored over Lafreniere's turnovers and lackadaisical play. He needs to really start giving more of an effort away from the puck. And I know he's not a great defensive player. I'm not saying he has to be Selke caliber. I'm not asking for Patrice Bergeron on the wing.
But passable.
Try. And Keandre Miller doesn't look like he's even trying. Is he still dealing with whatever, issue that he had personally? Whatever personal issue he had, I heard it's a breakup. I don't know. But you know what? I'm sorry to say this, but you're going to have to get over that. This is your job here. Your job is to go out and play hockey. If I had that problem and I was screwing up at work, they turn around and be like, what's going on with you? Why are you not productive? Same thing. It's just he gets a second chance somewhere else because he's an athlete. So Keandre Miller, listen, he's got to be much better. But honestly, I think I'm fully aboard the trade him for Jacob Chikrin train at this point, because this is the fourth year in a row. All 4 years of his career so far have been to points where he's up, he's down, he's up, he's down. He's a yo-yo. He's a yo-yo. And I don't think you're going to get anything more than what you have with him at this point. I think this is what he is. I think he's just one of those guys who just doesn't have it here. He has all the physical tools, but he doesn't process the game smartly enough to be a top-level defenseman. Like, one thing that I see him doing often is he's constantly chasing a forward around the defensive zone into areas where he shouldn't be chasing them. And it's not roller hockey. This isn't tournament roller hockey where you play man-to-man defense and you regroup and so on, and then go back and break out the play again. No, this is the NHL. You can't afford to do that, because when that happens, the split second it happens, you're opening up somebody else in dead space. And that's how these goals happen. So Keandre Miller, I would move on from him. I would.
I'm with you.
I really would.
I'm 1,000% with you. I don't know if I told you the trade idea I had, but like, I would honestly be okay with a package of Miller and Kakko with even a draft pick if they have to for Chikrin and Matthew Joseph, because you're getting more proven guys that I think would make this team significantly better. And I think those two are just versions of what you want at this point from Miller and what you want from Kakko at this point, since Kakko I don't think is ever going to live up to the second overall pick status.
You know what? If I'm moving Kako, I want to move him for somebody better than Joseph.
That's fair.
Joseph doesn't do anything for me. If you want to go acquire Joseph, and Ottawa's going to retain salary on that, which I don't know if they will at this point, considering that they have to fit Pinto in somehow, then okay, getting Joseph is not a bad idea. But for Kako, no. But you know what? I would be open to moving Kako for the right player. I just don't think Joseph is that guy.
That's fair. But I definitely think they need a more proven guy. And I'm getting to the point, though, where you are with the team that I'm a broken record. I'm just a broken record, and this is who they are. It's because somebody, it was Nicole, too, that brought up a comment earlier that I want to pull up again if I could find it. I don't know if I'm going to be able to, but she was basically saying that what if what we saw in October was the outlier? Yeah, this is it. What if they just outperformed early on? And this is just who they are. And the team we saw in October and November is just not what they are. And that was the outlier versus what we're seeing here.
It's a fair question to ask. It really is. I mean, with the way that they've played, my response to this would be that they were playing Laviolette's system back then. They bought into that system. Ever since that Bruins game, that shootout at the MSG Corral that they had back at the end of November with the Bruins, that 7-4 win, whatever, that was where this team decided we don't have to play that system anymore, and we're going to get away from that. We're just going to worry about scoring goals. And ever since then, and the Kako injury and everything, that's where everything has gone downhill. They were structured back then. They're not structured now. They're definitely not playing within Laviolette's structure. And they don't seem to want to do that. And I've said this for a while on my streams. But if you're not going to do that and they don't want to play that way and buy into this, it's not even street hockey, Mike. It's like my uncle used to call open hockey sessions, like ice roll or whatever, like where you go to open skate. He used to call them zoo hockey, because it was just a random assortment of different players from all over, just playing all sorts of stupid hockey, doing such stupid things. And he's right about that to an extent. Like, it's a madhouse. So that's what I feel like we're getting sort of in a way from these guys. They're just going out there and doing whatever the hell they want, and there's no accountability for it.
Yep.
And that's where Laviolette has to step in. And I honestly don't like. There's no fake rumor to go around where we're going to trade Adam Fox for Cale Makar. That's not going to happen. Back in 1994, you could get away with that when the New York Post put that fake rumor out because Keenan told them to do it to light a fire under Brian Leach's ass. Like, you could do that back then. There's no doing that now. And Laviolette, if they're not going to listen to him, if he's going to go back there, and I know that he's a bit of a barker, so I'd imagine he's barked at them a little bit. He even skated them hard after the other day after the practice.
Yeah, I think it was the second loss of this 4-game losing streak.
Yeah, it was the second loss. From what Vince and all the beats were reporting, he skated them hard. If they're not going to listen to that, someone has to be benched. And honestly, it's got to be one of those guys with an A. It's got to be.
I 1,000% agree. And I've addressed something like this, Cameron, numerous times. If Peter Laviolette has truly lost the room, this core needs to have heads chopped off, because at what point does it fall on the players? 3 coaches in, they cried about Quinn being too much of a disciplinarian, but in just a dumb way, and just really had no system at all. So then they get a players coach. They cry for help after losing to New Jersey last year. Now they're getting the help they need. And if Laviolette has lost the room, changes have to be made.
Then it's on team. It's absolutely on team. And that's what we were saying when he was hired. Like, I want to, you know what? I think you may even follow him on Twitter. Brian Don Heel.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah. So he actually referenced an old post that I made back in June when they hired Laviolette. And I'm trying to pull it up right now because basically what I said was something along the lines of that we were going to find out what this core was made of. And I think he said by December, I think we'll know their true colors. And Brian was 110% right. And I said during that thread, I know I said that if they don't respond to Laviolette, then you know it's on them, because there's no more. There's no more. They wanted the guy that was going to go out and was going to help them and was going to put his hands on the team and get them going. Here's the guy. There's no more excuses for this core. This is it. And you're not going to sit there and say, oh, it's the coach. Well, you got away with that with Quinn because he didn't know what he's doing. Still obviously doesn't know what he's doing. Gallant is just, go out there, do your thing. Hi, AV 2.0. That's what he was.
Yep.
And then there's Laviolette, who's the guy who's the one who found it. Okay. So he said the Gorton slander needs to be louder. That guy said rebuild and retooled, traded anything of value for conditionals. Drury's been meh, but he's in a position because of Gorton's lack of plan and execution when he wasn't lucking into players. And don't start me on Clark and Bob Ruff and their scouting. And I responded, it's the roster construction. This situation reminds me of how they went from Nielsen to Keenan in 93. Talented but underwhelming and underachieving, and a team needing a kick in the ass, getting a coach that won't baby them. Now you're going to see this team's true colors. Those are my exact words. And Brian's response to that was he agreed. He thinks that because of outside of Kreider and maybe Mika, the hurler of helmets of this team has no real leadership. These guys are losers and fold when there's adversity. You will see how headstrong this team is by Christmas. Does this guy have the numbers? Does he have the numbers?
Yeah.
Do you have the lotto?
Yes, seriously. It couldn't be any more dead on. And I was saying it too when they hired Laviolette, that this is it with this core. This is it. And even after Game 7, I was talking about before you joined, there was still that thought in my mind. As much as I couldn't stand Gallant, I was saying to myself, this has to be a core issue too, right? Like, there's no way this isn't just a core issue at the same time. Definitely was right to question it. You called it too, not last year, but the year before, I think it was, when they got spanked by New Jersey after the deadline, and you went in on the leadership group. And we're seeing the same. We're seeing more of the same.
How do you give Chris Kreider, a guy that shows up whenever the hell he wants to, an A? How do you give him an A? He disappears for weeks, maybe even months at times. Does anybody remember his 2021 season? Like the 2021, like shortened 56 game season? Does anybody remember that season and how lazy and inconsistent he was in the middle of that season?
Yep.
He had 20 goals that season. 9 of those goals came in a 6-game stretch. A 6-game stretch. And this guy's numbers look so much better than they are because he scores goals in bunches. And then what does he do for the rest of the time? He doesn't show up. He gives you these lazy defensive efforts. He takes lazy penalties. This team will not win with him playing like that. And they should have never given him an A. They should have never given Trouba the captaincy. I'm sorry.
Hell no.
They should have never done that. I said it from the start. I still think it's a terrible decision.
I'm right there with you.
One bit on it. Because Trouba has been better than last year, but he still lacks the resolve to be the type of player that can actually get this team to get going. If he was such a leader, why was he the one that went and cried to Drury? And instead of doing that, why not kick this team in the goddamn ass and get them to start playing better in the middle of the series instead of running and crying to Drury and saying, oh, there's no help from the coach? Ultimately, the players have to produce. This is this team's third coach. This comes down to this leadership group. There's no leader.
Yep.
There's no leader. There's no leadership There's no heart. There's no spine. There's no balls. This is literally friggin' Tanaka from Major League 2 going up to Serrano, going right into his face and saying, "No marbles! No marbles!" And then Serrano just being like, "Huh? Marbles? Huevos?" And not doing a damn thing about it. That's it. And Blake Wheeler, get him out of the friggin' lineup.
On cue with this. Yeah, Trouba was part of the poll to get Wheeler
out
here.
Of the lineup.
Yeah, that experiment needs to end. And I had people tagging me on Twitter when I tweeted that, saying, "What are you talking about? He's been one of the better forwards today."
No, he hasn't.
I don't know what people were watching. I don't know what people were watching.
Guy is just terrible. People, and these are the same people that crap on Benino and Gaudreau. Yeah, you know what? Those guys don't do anything offensively. We get it. But at least they're trying defensively. Wheeler turns the puck over, doesn't skate back. Doesn't skate back at all. Sits there with his thumb up his ass where he is. Doesn't do a damn thing. Doesn't do a damn thing.
Someone said on Twitter they should put him at center.
Oh,
I don't know what they were talking about. I was in disbelief. I was like, what? It got even worse, though, now. I just opened up Twitter. Did you see Jacob Trouba's quote?
What did he say now?
So this is from Steven. I don't know how to pronounce his last name, but he said, Trouba after the 4-game skid, "It's not like we're getting dominated or run out of buildings. We're right there. We're just kind of in a rough patch."
You're kidding, right?
I wish I was kidding.
No. I'm that's a rhetorical to Trouba. I know you can't hear me, but you're telling me that these efforts are acceptable to you defensively? That's what you're telling me by that quote? This is why I don't like him as a captain. Exactly why I don't. Doesn't belong as a captain. Doesn't. He's terrible. He is terrible. He's an awful leader. This leadership group is awful in general. And they have no spine. No spine whatsoever. And these guys cried for help. Now Laviolette needs to really be the disciplinarian.
I didn't like Laviolette's quote that's in the thread here, too. They had 2 chances in the third period, and they scored on them. Defensively, I thought we played a pretty good game. Their first goal came off of us trying to create offense, shoot the puck, and they sprung somebody for a breakaway. That somebody was Anthony Mantha.
Because Keandre Miller has his head up his ass, and what does he do instead of making a simple play? He tries to take a shot at a player that's right in front of him, point blank, on his stick side instead of dumping the puck.
And then throws his arms up on the back check instead of actually getting on it.
What is that, Fox? Move your damn feet. Move it.
He did it against Carolina, too, and that's why I got annoyed, because people were like, "Oh, well, he got held in at center ice." Cool, but instead of throwing your arms up and looking at the ref, how about you back check and then complain to the ref after the play if you're going to complain?
Yeah, exactly.
Speaking of Adam Fox, here's a quote from him. "We're not going to win every game this year. It's a stretch that we're kind of going through it, and it's frustrating. Obviously, you want to come together and build your way out of it, and right now, we're still kind of figuring it out a little bit."
Or how about you actually move your feet on defense and give an effort? Like, you're a big part of the problem. He's a huge part of the problem. I don't care how many goals this guy scores. He doesn't play defense. He doesn't play defense anymore. You know, 2-3 years ago, he was literally a guy that you could look at offensively and defensively and say he's one of the best in the league at both ends. This year, he has just been awful defensively since the injury. Awful defensively. If he's still hurt, then sit.
Yep.
But not
it's mental mistakes too. Like that's why I'm not excusing him. It's mental mistakes, and this you learn in preschool, playing recess, play to the whistle. But instead, they just throw their arms up.
You taught that in Pee Wee. You were literally taught that in Pee Wee.
Yeah,
and they don't do it, and then the the third goal that Washington scored, what was Trouba doing? Like, okay, yeah, just let him go pitch a tent to the side of the net and don't cover
Yeah.
it. That's great. That's smart.
Yeah. Quality defense, quality captaincy.
It's gotten to a point where something needs to change. A message needs to be sent. And a trade would help. Obviously, getting Kako back helps a tiny bit, and a trade would help. But ultimately, this team's issues stem from the fact that they don't want to play within a structure. They don't want to play within a structure, and they don't move their feet when they turn the puck over. They're a poor transition team.
Oh yeah, they are, and that's something that's very visible. It's very visible, and you're seeing it more and more. And it feels like the defense has just regressed even more. That's what's even more scary. The defense was already horrendous to begin with. Now you're talking about them being worse than teams like the Sharks, Ducks, Blackhawks, and all these teams in terms of rush defense.
Yeah, they can't defend off the rush at all because they're poor transitionally, and two, the skaters just don't move their feet. You're not getting that third. You're not getting an effort back because all these odd man rushes continue to happen because you're not getting enough of an effort back from the forwards.
Yeah, and they give the puck away like it's fair. Yeah, they give the puck away too like it's candy on Halloween. They never forecheck. The forecheck is horrendous.
No, it's gotten to a point where I don't know how this organization is not seeing that it's just a clear lack of effort from certain players, and certain players don't want to do what it takes to win these games anymore. It's clear as day. It's been like this for
5 years now.
Oh, these guys, 5 years in general, but this year, at least a month and change.
We're approaching 2 at this point.
Yeah.
Because the Boston game was the end of November, so we're approaching 2 months at this point.
We're already at the month and a half mark.
Yeah, and I'm seeing people online say, be grateful. Because the Sharks have lost 11 in a row twice. Be grateful. Be grateful for this team being in first. I apologize, everyone. We're being ungrateful. I'm sorry.
Yeah, we're clearly being ungrateful for pointing out.
We're having standards.
Problems. Yeah, and having some sort of expectation of a team to actually show up and play defense, especially against a Washington team that is without their best player and is clearly on the decline. Yeah, good. Keep telling us that we're terrible fans for sitting here and actually wanting the team to win. Stupid. So stupid. I'm tired of that shit too.
Yeah, I could go on a rant about that for a while. No system. I'm happy. Othman was sent back down. He came into a team less structured than the Pack. Yeah, pretty much.
Just every time there's a turnover, nobody skates back. Nobody. And you're not getting that third man back, and that's why they're so poor against the rush. It's so easy to see, too. It really is. And you don't need analytics. You don't need anything. You don't need an expert to see this. They're not getting that guy back. A lot of these goals that are being scored off them against the rush, vast majority of them, I should say, are all coming because they're outnumbered greatly. And because of the fact that they're outnumbered greatly, it causes the defense to have to make plays, and they're overcommitting to players when they shouldn't be overcommitting. Like, you brought in Phil Housley to work with this defense. Phil Housley really has to hammer out how to play 2-on-1s and odd man rushes with this defense, because Keandre Miller doesn't know what to do with that. Adam Fox is the only one that knows how to play it semi-normally. Jacob Trouba, I don't understand how he goes towards the puck carrier and doesn't cheat towards the pass. Like, what's wrong with you?
I don't get that either.
He has to be one of the worst defensemen I think I've seen playing 2-on-1s.
I'd agree. And to go back to the leadership point, I'm starting to question too a bit if the leadership is part of the issues in terms of this team's. I know that history dates back further with, prospect development, but what type of example are these guys setting for some of the younger guys coming in? That you could just take nights off? Because that's the example that I'm seeing.
It looks like it. It looks like it. It looks like it's just okay. Here you go. Mail it in. That's acceptable. Like, what kind of message are you sending to Hoffman, bringing him up and having these guys just play like this in front of him? The Montreal game was a joke, absolute joke. Carolina, they just mailed it in, and this team is so mentally fragile and weak that once they let up a goal, they let up another goal right afterwards, and then they're down by 1 or 2 goals, and that's just the game. That's the game. There's no resolve with this team anymore. The resolve that we saw in November is out the window. Out the window. Because those games, they were down against Vancouver. They came back. They tied that game. They won that in overtime. They were down in the Winnipeg game. I mean, I don't understand where these efforts have gone. Like, are these guys just, are they tired? Is it Laviolette? Like, what's the issue here?
They should be tired of losing, if anything.
Yeah, and that's the one thing they should be tired of, but they apparently don't seem to be too tired of it because they just don't show up. Another game with flat efforts. You can tell right off the bat from the start of this game when Washington controlled the play for, I would say, almost the first 10 minutes of that game, that they were flat and they did not have it. And that's terrible. That's terrible. Does this team go out and party before every game or something?
That's what it feels like, yeah. And it's just annoying, the lack of accountability. And it's like the one time we thought they were actually being held accountable last year when Kreider got benched in that Detroit game, and then was Galante throws him out there the first shift in overtime.
Yeah.
Glad that's our discipline.
Yeah. It's just, they are afraid to make a move that would lose a game, but would send a message. And at this point, I'm okay with them sitting Fox or Zibanejad. You know what? Fuck it. Sit all 4 of them. Lose the game. Lose the game. Send a goddamn message. Send a message.
Yeah.
They're not going to get it. They don't listen. You skated them heavy after the other practice the other day, after that second loss. This is how they've responded. They respond 2 games in a row with just flat, lazy efforts where they don't want to play defense. Obviously, the message is not getting through. Backskating ain't going to work. So now benching is what needs to happen.
100%, yeah. And it's funny, too, how that quote, it's just funny the timing, the quote with Keandre Miller saying that this is the most prepared we've been for games. And like ever since that quote, he's been even more inconsistent than ever. And the team has just continued to go downhill. What are you doing with the preparation? Because I'm not seeing any of it being utilized.
I don't know. They keep talking about preparation. Where is this preparation?
Yeah.
And if you are being prepared for these games, what are you doing during them then? I don't understand. Like, and I feel like this is one of those situations where if blank is the answer, what the hell is the question? That's what we're looking at right here. Like, if the preparation is there and these guys are giving you these types of efforts in return, then there's far deeper underlying issues. You know what? It's funny. I see this comment from Nick. Lavi needs to sit Kreider. Kreider, it's funny because somebody just commented on my mentions before on Twitter. Hold on, I'll find it. It was funny because they just said almost the same thing. It was RL310D, yeah, my friend Rich. He goes, I didn't notice Kreider until he took the penalty.
Yeah,
yeah, he says if he didn't take that penalty, I would have never knew he was playing.
That's pretty much how I feel about him on a night-to-night basis, and people get mad at me, especially if he scores a goal. But it's just the truth. Like, there's so many times he's invisible. It's like he'll score a goal. It's like, I didn't even realize you were playing tonight. He's so invisible way too much. He's invisible way too much.
Yeah.
And you've been saying it for a very long time. And anytime they announce his goal total, I'm like, are we sure? We got to do a recount on that. There's no way he's up to 20 on the year. Feels like way less.
He could have 20 goals for all I care. He doesn't do anything else otherwise. He doesn't. And I listen, I'm not asking for assists. I don't care about that. Move your feet and give some sort of an effort away from the puck. Because I don't know how the hell this guy has 20 goals. I really don't. I don't. It's the most quiet and most underwhelming 20-goal season so far that I've seen from somebody at this point. Yeah, you know what? He can end up scoring 40 goals. Good for you, buddy. Good for you. You still don't move your feet in about 80% of the games that are played.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't understand. And it's just the same issues over and over again. Like the fact that Will Cooley's looked like the best forward over this recent stretch is just, what does that tell you? What does that tell you about the score?
And this is their how many different winger now?
I forgot, but I went through the list.
You did the numbers, and yeah,
I could run through the list for everyone at home that doesn't remember, because there were some names absent from the list, and I went back and did a deep dive to look. So since Zuccarello's departure, here are the right wingers that have played with Kreider and Zibanejad: Pavel Buchnevich, Colin Blackwell, Kevin Rooney, Jesper Foss, Dryden Hunt, Ryan Reeves, Sammy Blais, Frank Vetrano, Andrew Kopp, Tyler Mott, Patrick Kane, Barclay Goodrow, Vladimir Tarasenko, Jimmy Vesey, Blake Wheeler, Phil Peedle, Kop Okako, Alexei Lafreniere, Johnny Brzezinski, Vlad Nemestikov, Ryan Spooner, Brennan Othman, Artemi Panarin, Julian Gauthier. I don't know what to tell you.
You would have to remove Ryan Spooner from that list.
Remove Spooner? Okay.
Yeah, because you said it was since Zuccarello left, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was the list Steven sent me with Spooner, but yeah, you're right.
Spooner probably played a game or two with them before the 2017-18 season ended or so, or maybe in 2018, 2019. But
unless you meant Ryan Strome, who, for all we know, has got a rep there too, probably.
Yeah, maybe he meant Strome, but still, they've had over 20 wingers with them. 20 wingers. And at what point is this a boy cry wolf situation?
That's what I said before. Yeah, before you joined, I was like, how many girls are we going to go through before acknowledging you're the issue here?
Yeah.
I don't understand it. And I mentioned it in a previous post game. I am the last guy complaining if they utilize the fact that Kreider's no move clause lightens up this offseason, get a legit right winger, let Lafreniere move to the left side, and finally get Kreider and Zibanejad away from each other.
It seems like it has to happen. Because Chris Kreider is only going to decline from here. It's only going to decline from here. You may have 3 more good years of him. And then after that, it's going to be a problem. Because he doesn't skate the way that he used to. And there's no urgency to his game. So I just don't see how this team goes forward with the same guys doing the same dumb shit. It's the definition of insanity. Doing the same thing over and over again, expecting different results. And they've done it with 3 coaches now. If this is a bum year where they don't go far in the playoffs or they don't win the cup, heads have got to roll.
Do I dare even go as far to say if they make it?
I think they'll make it. I really wonder because Carolina's starting to play better.
The thing that worries me is that March schedule. And like they'll have the deadline improvements, but if they're just going to keep playing like this, will it really matter? I think this was supposed to be the lighter part of the schedule.
Yeah, this is an easy part of the schedule. And you know what the worst part is? The most glaring and consistent trend that I've seen all year that's not being talked about enough is the fact that they constantly play down the competition and do not give the efforts needed to beat these bad teams.
Yep.
Like, and even the games that they win against the bad teams, the San Jose game, they almost lost that game. They almost lost to San Jose. And yeah, I get it. It wasn't the same San Jose team that lost 11 in a row. They were playing better, yada, yada, yada. They were playing, I guess, like 500 hockey at that time that they played them or something like that. I mean, honestly, I don't want to hear that. I don't, because it's still almost an AHL caliber team, and you still almost lost that game. So,
Got killed by Buffalo in November. Got killed by Ottawa
in December.
Yeah, that was
terrible. That was one
embarrassing.
of the worst efforts I've seen all year from that team. Oh, but Ottawa and Buffalo were talented. Yeah, but they don't know how to play hockey in their own zone. Their goaltending is awful. These are teams you should be beating up on. Good teams beat up on the bad teams, not play down to them, and almost lose or lose to those teams. So I don't know if this team is a fraud. I don't know if the great run was a total mirage.
Oh no, they're on fraud watch in my opinion.
I don't blame you.
I won't give them. I won't slap it on them yet. For me, that will come in March, but they're definitely at least on watch right now. And believe me, I know a thing or two about fraud watch, considering I watched the 2022 Mets and the 2023 Eagles. That's just great. So yeah, now I'm dealing with it again. So I would know, unfortunately, and I hate to say it, but they definitely are. And yeah, they don't even show up now against good teams.
Yeah, I mean, earlier on, I remember back when they were like the first team to hit the 20-win mark, their losses were in regulation against bad teams, and they're just like, okay, they underestimated a bad team, yada, yada, yada. They'll show up against the good team, and they'll beat the good team. And that's what they were doing. But I don't see how – I don't see where that is anymore. I don't see that team here. I don't see that resolve. I don't see that will. And I don't like – yeah, they may end up beating the Capitals tomorrow because it's a home and home and whatnot. And usually teams, you win one, you lose one. But does that really remedy any of the problems that this team has? Does that really make anybody feel that much better about this team?
No, unless they dominate, no.
No, and even if they dominated, you need to see a more consistent brand of hockey because one game they could go and absolutely blow the doors off. And I keep seeing the analytics guys online. Oh, PDO this, PDO that, PDO this. Don't talk to me about PDO. Don't, because the problem with this team is that they're not giving you the efforts. Oh, well, the goalies will eventually make the saves. I don't want to hear that the goalies will eventually make the saves. Goaltenders have not been reliable for a while. I think out of Quick's last 10 starts, I think 7 or 8 of them, he's at a save percentage of 900 or less. 900 even or less. Jonathan Quick's regressed. Igor Shesterkin, we thought he had his mojo back there for a minute. Right back to where he was before.
Yeah. Jonathan Quick's rebound control was horrendous today. It was horrendous.
Listen, I'm not going
to blame him for today, but his rebound control was off today.
Yeah, it wasn't good. But if I have to put a list of the problems together, he's probably in the bottom half of the list.
I agree with that.
He's probably in the bottom half. The overall defensive efforts are the biggest concern to me, and it just lazy play from a lazy team that did not show up to start this game. How do you let a slow team like Washington outskate you that badly in the first period? That badly.
Yeah. And the truth of the matter is, I don't remember who tweeted it, but it's exactly right that this is just exactly, I think it was Reed Steven who said it, that this is what the 2021-22 team was It's just goaltending masked the issues. It's just the truth. And now there's like, what'd you say?
No, Igor did mask a lot of the issues that year. I remember saying that a lot.
Yeah, and now you could see why there was a legitimate argument from Ranger fans why he should have won the Hart that year. Because there's no way that team makes the playoffs. Look at what's happening right now. And now Panarin's carrying the 5v5 offense. Now there's an argument for him to win the Hart.
But he won't win it.
No, he won't win it. And I wish I was there with you. I wish I was there with you, but I am absolutely dreading going to this game tomorrow. I'm dreading it. Then they play a red hot Seattle team. They play Vegas.
Seattle's won, 8 in a row, I think?
Yeah, like 8 of their last 9 or something like that. I don't know, but they've been red hot. Vegas is in a bit of a slump. Maybe you catch them there. And then you play LA, also in a slump. But, the Rangers are also at the same time good of getting teams out of a slump. So I wouldn't put it past them for that to happen either.
Yeah. I'm just, I don't know. I don't have a good feeling about this game tomorrow.
I've been feeling lately. What were you saying, though?
I got to get going, though. I have a birthday party to go to in a little bit, so I got to start getting ready for that.
All right. Sounds good. Thanks for hopping on for a bit here.
No problem. Thank you for having me. Hopefully we can get more post-game shows and more like regular shows together where we do a little more joint work. We'll have all of us. We'll have one big round table, mess of a round table with everybody, with Nick, you, Maddie, Joe is your other guy.
Joe, Nico. We have a couple
Joe, Nico. Okay,
guys here.
So this way we can, because I would love to get like that big cluster of a round table and get all of these minds floating everywhere and having Mark try to serve layups to like 10 people at once. Because that would be absolutely hilarious.
He's gonna smash the total of assists in a game.
Yeah, with all those lobs that he throws to everybody.
Yeah.
Did you see the Blake Griffin highlight reel that was going around on Twitter?
No, I didn't see that.
I should have tagged you in it. Somebody put it was like prime Blake Griffin was a friggin' madman, and it was just all these friggin' slam dunks that he was just throwing down. I thought I should have tagged you in it. Oh God, if I find you in it, I'll tag you in it.
Yeah, tag me in that if you find it.
Yeah, Mike NYR for live from Boss Croakers. Yeah, Mark throwing layups. We'll get him a little basketball hoop and run it down to the bar for him.
Matt already bought it. I freaking love it. I can't wait to see his face when we gift it to him. That's gonna be so funny in the MetLife parking lot.
Oh God! Oh fuck! Oh,
I can't wait.
It's gonna be a fun time. So whoever is coming to that, follow both of us for more information on that. We're definitely gonna have something where we're all hanging out before the game. So that's going to be a friggin' awesome time.
100%. And also be sure to check out Big Apple Hockey if you haven't, so you could hear more of Phil's opinions. Follow him on Twitter at 92 and 82. That's correct, right?
Yes, 92 and 82.
Yeah, where you could get the more in-depth versions too of our thoughts, our in-the-moment thoughts. So
yeah, our in-the-moment thoughts are both really, really fun, to say the least.
Oh yeah, it's something else. But thank you for joining, Phil. I really do appreciate it. We'll definitely talk more about doing more post-game shows.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me, buddy.
No problem.
Take care.
See ya. All right. I'm going to wrap things up, though, here myself, since we have gone for an hour 30, which I did not expect to do. But I definitely wanted to bring Phil on because I simply couldn't do this myself. I simply couldn't do it myself with the way that this has been absolutely aggravating me. That's also why I've had Matt join in for a few, because it's just like I'm aggravated. I'm at a loss for words, and I don't know where to go from here. I don't. It's just infuriating. But that's going to be it. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Don't forget to leave a like if you haven't already, especially if you made it through the whole way. I do appreciate all of you guys in the chat that have stuck through the whole way, since there's a lot of you. We're at about 20 likes. Let's see if we can get to 50. I would appreciate that a ton. Thank you guys so much, and I'll see you guys in the next post-game show tomorrow, which, by the way, will be later because I'm going to the game, like I mentioned before. So just be aware that it will probably be I don't know, 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock post-game show. I'm not entirely sure yet, but it's gonna be chaotic. It's gonna be chaotic. I'll see you guys in the next one, though.